I got most all the welds ground down. It's coming out pretty good. I'm gonna go change my bit. I've got a square, or not a tapered one, just a round, about a 1/4 inch round. I'm gonna take that around the inside of that. And here I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. So I gotta go change that bit. So I changed my bit. This is a straight shank, and that'll work really good to get down and clean up these corners here. I want to have that shape for my catch. I want that to recess flush, and I want to round the corners of it. So that's what I'll do with that. Okay, so I got the finished sanding everything, and you see this edge turned out nice. If you remember, I rolled that edge when I put that piece on and then welded it right here. So that seam turned out really, looks really good. A little epoxy on that. Paint it, epoxy it. Sand it a couple times. Just looks really good. This piece finished off nice. Do a little seam fill right there. I have to panel adhesive these down, and then I'll sand that panel adhesive, I think, along the edge there. Otherwise, all the holes are filled, and this I gotta touch up just a little bit. Yeah, little spot right there. I'll put a little more weld in there, and then I'll straighten that line up a little bit better. But it's come along. Okay, so next I'm gonna work on, I'll fill these holes, all these little holes here and there, and then I'm going to try to come up with something to finish this area off in the back. I'll do that next. Thinking about putting a light there, not sure. So today I'm going to make a panel for this area right here, and then I'm going to finish up the other areas around on this hood. I'm going to clean this up a little bit too, but that's the biggest project. So before I start working, I like to oil up all my air tools. Just put a drop of oil in each one of them, and blow it through there. It's a good practice to get into. I don't do it every time, but I try to. It'll make your tools last a lot longer. So I'm gonna grind away at that. Clean this area up a little bit more for my catch. Touch up some spots on the corners with the welder. Clean those up, and then I'll start working on that next. So I'm filling in these areas around this opening so it fits better. You can see that was gapped a little bit yet. I'm getting close. These other areas I've already filled it in. I'll show you how I do it. I just take and weld that corner, and then I clean it up with the grinder. So I'll show you how I finish that off. Look at that. Bought a new one. Broke down and bought a new one. Okay, so all I did was this out. See, I just filled that in. Still a little hot. So now I'll take a die grinder and just clean that up. My safety glasses and ear protection on. Sand the top off with my sander and a little grinder. 80 grit paper. And my die grinder. Just got a small chuck in there. Little file in. Works really good. I actually bought that bit and a few others from a guy. He had a stand set up there at Auburn auction one year. Had a bunch of these dies, and I bought a few of them. And I asked him if they were going to work or they were going to wear out real quick, and he said, no, they will work for a long time. He said the key is not to shock it and to go in gently and clean that out. You know, I think it kind of warms itself up or whatever, and it'll stay sharp for a long time. That was his advice, and it has worked. I've used this for a long time, and it still looks like it's new. It really cuts the old metal out of there nice. So it wasn't cheap, but it was well worth it. Sometimes you buy cheap parts or bits, paper, stuff like that, and it won't last very long. It's probably well worth just spending a little extra money. I'll take a DA sander across it, finish it up. All right, there we go. So I'll show you a picture. I'll include a still picture when I post this of how it looked before and now. But as you can see, that gap looks really pretty good. By the time I epoxy it and sand it, I may have just a little bit of filler in some areas here, but very, very thin coat. That's what I try to shoot for, is very little filler. So that takes care of the front of the hood. Now I'm going to come up with something for that. I'm going to start thinking about this and laying something out with poster board. I'm thinking maybe putting a light right here. Don't know yet. That might look kind of cool. So if I put a light there, it's going to be LED, and I want to get a wire to it. So I'm thinking I probably need to create some sort of a chase to pull that wire through and get it to this point so it's all hidden. So I'm going to hold off on welding these holes, this one and that one over there, until I get that laid out. I might fish a pipe through here or something. So I'll show you what I do in a little bit. So I'm going to cut a piece of poster board to fill in this area right here. And I need to keep it lower than this, and at this level I should say, because my supercharger comes in through here, and that's why I cut this out. So I got clearance here now. So what I'll do is I'll just mark this. It's kind of got a little bit of a curve on it. Just roughly trace that. Driver's side, passenger side, just to make it easy so I don't get it flipped around later on. And that's close. So now I'm going to try to get this angle. Now I'll scribe it. Get my magnets. All right, so I want it to look like a nice little cover there, not something that's just stuck on. So let's trim this up here. Okay. So I think what I'll do is I'll take a piece of sheet metal and cut these out, fit it around there nice, and then I'll maybe make a little cap for these two things. I'm gonna make this cap. This will be a cap, so I'll roll these edges over or hem them. I'm not sure yet. And whether I have that tuck under that or on top, I don't know that yet either. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit and I'll be back.